It's just not fair.
This is Felix, and one thing is clear. Felix likes when things are fair, but sometimes things don't go that way, and Felix has a lot to say. One day Fiona scraped her knee. A bandage for her, but not for me? He stomped his foot and punched the air and cried out loud, "It's just not fair." Miss Fowler smiled and shook her head. Fiona was hurt, that's why, she said. A bandage for you would be silly, you see. Everyone gets just what they need. When someone needs a little more, that's what fairness is sometimes for. Franklin finished his math just fine, but Felix had to stay behind. He stomped his foot and punched the air and cried out loud, "It's just not fair." Miss Fowler smiled and shook her head. "Felix, don't fret," she calmly said. "Franklin's work was shorter today. You'll get there too in your own way. Some are quick, some take more time. It's still fair. You all still shine." Then Faith got first to the very best swing, and Felix was mad. He felt the sting. He stomped his foot and punched the air and cried out loud, "It's just not fair." Miss Fowler smiled and shook her head. "Felix, don't fret," she calmly said. "Everyone gets a chance to play. You'll be swinging in no time today. I know it's hard, but have no fear. Fair means patience. Your turn is near." Then Felix saw something hard to ignore. There were cupcakes going to the class next door. He stomped his foot and punched the air and cried out loud, "It's just not fair." Miss Fowler smiled and shook her head. "Felix, don't fret," she calmly said. "It's really not for you to mind. People get treats of a special kind. It's their turn for something extra today, but that doesn't mean you won't have your day." Then Felix earned a special prize, and Fiona glared with jealous eyes. She stomped her foot and punched the air and cried out loud, "It's just not fair." Felix smiled and shook his head. "Remember what Miss Fowler said. It's not always equal, and that's okay. We all will have our special day." Kindness and sharing open the door. That's what fairness is sometimes for. Then later, Felix needed help in class. Miss Fowler helped him finish fast. Franklin stomped his foot and punched the air and cried out loud, "It's just not fair." So Felix smiled and shook his head. "Franklin, don't fret," he calmly said. "Sometimes we get just what we need. Fairness looks different for each, you see. I needed the help and needed more time. It's still fair. We all still shine." Felix learned a great lesson that day, that fairness comes in different ways. Fair isn't getting all the same thing. It's about what each of us brings. Felix learned kindness matters more than fair, and now he felt lighter without a care.
So the next time something doesn't feel quite right, remember that fair isn't always in sight. What really counts is showing we care, because sometimes life just isn't fair. You did it! Yay!